la botella que funda para gastarle. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luce cámara, la acción después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile, baby. Ese seguro y retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito, mami, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo para ti. Lo que tengo para ti. Te va a encantar como meto yo.
Man, that intro gets me all pumped up for an off season. No, okay, but no, let's talk about some football. That's what it definitely gets me pumped up for, because I am your host, Primetime Phil, and like always, my co-host, Gametime Bryan, is in the house. Sir, welcome back to a Primetime Studios is actually broadcasting every week. Yeah, we're back on air. We paid our bills, and there we go, man. We're going right at you. So what's up, Bryan?
We're back. Now, Phil likes me sitting in the dark. Is this too dark for everybody? I want to hear the people talk. Am I too dark? Am I sitting in a cave? Or do you like it? Are we like Hamid Cave? We don't like Hamid Cave. We like to be out and about. But yes,
well, you're here,
I'm good,
here.
Phil.
That's half the battle. That's half the battle.
Yeah, I'm good, brother.
So anyways, we are going into an off season that's not really truly an off season, because guess what happens tomorrow? Yes, the Super Bowl happens tomorrow. A broadcast that we're going to be on your channel, of course, going, I don't know, play by play. I don't wouldn't even say that. At least talking, and we'll talk about some Super Bowl stuff that's happening. And hopefully you're watching the Super Bowl as well, too, at that time. But before that, we're going to dive into a little bit of NFL draft. And, you know, let's just be real cowboy talk like we normally do. We allow the chat to kind of dictate where we kind of take these conversations sometimes. But Gametime, I'm happy to have you, man. It's been a while, and I wanted you to jump a little bit early on as we caught up and everything. And
I thought I was in trouble, everybody.
No. Just I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't really been able to talk to you, and every time we go to talk, there just tends to be about 9 or 10 people in the same room.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
And I really love those people, but as well, we haven't really been able to talk about future stuff, possibly NFL drafts, things going there, road trip in the way. So, I mean, there's some talk out there, right, Bryan? So we may possibly have some future stuff.
Yeah, you know, Phil's like my brother, so you know I don't know how he feels, but meeting Phil, he's the man. I mean, like, we get along great, as well as you could possibly get along. I know me and my actual brother, rest in peace. We used to fight all the time. Me and Phil don't fight that much. He just will go the other way.
You get short with me, I
like
get short with you.
Him, yeah. Phil knows that. He knows how I'm thinking pretty much right away. It's like, if I'm annoyed, he don't give a fuck, but he knows. But anyway, that being said, I love when Phil's around, but we respect. Again, I've been there, not maybe at the level of what you're going through, but in a different capacity. Yes, I was, Phil, because I was a travel ball coach, along with being full-time work, along with being a husband, along with being a father. You know, it's not easy. No, along with friends, right? You know, my friends at the time were, aren't you going to go out? You got to do this. I'm like, I can't be everywhere all the time, guys. So I know what you're going through, but I'm happy that you're going through it because you're enjoying it. So that's the big.
I'm loving it. That's the thing about it, is I am very busy.
That's the important part of it.
And I'm loving every little
there
aspect.
There will be come a time, Phil, where you will be like, all right, I'm ready to slow down. But that's not now. So
well, that's what I think. That's what I think I love about this, is that the fact I'm not trying to push it off in that sense, but like when I'm ready for that time, man, I'm giving it that full force on here in the channel, and obviously, hopefully, that we're doing more on the road. And you know what I would love to do? I got really wrapped up, and there was this family this year, and I apologize, I don't know the name right off the top, but he would travel in his RV. He had his family, his wife, and his daughter, his young baby daughter, and then they would travel to every Dallas Cowboys game.
Yeah, and I don't know if I want to do every game.
And so, no, but I thought that was really cool in the sense that you never know where we're going to be in like 10 years or whatever like that. You know, we're going to be like, you know, I ain't got anything to do this year. You know, I'm tired of this kind of thing, and we need to do something different, you know. But we're not there. We're ready to talk NFL draft because guess what? The Dallas Cowboys are not there, and they're taken a couple of steps on the right direction. I think they have been for hopefully probably the past off season or so, and we're hoping that continues to this off season. How are you feeling about the front office, at least about taking things serious?
I love everything Phil, I love everything we've done so far, but as everybody's probably tired of hearing it, but guess what? We're not going to stop talking about it. We need to see Dallas have a free agency period, a strong free agency period. We need to see that, okay? I'm not like certain people where I gotta have the top of the list of every category. No, but we need to have blue chip guys coming in here. Day 1, 2, maybe 3 guys. After day 3, it's kind of like, now you're getting into the mid-level guys.
Well, let's be real. Even day 2 is kind of, as well, too.
I need to see some movement. I need to see a game plan. And that the Joneses always go on the yacht, like the first week of the draft, and they do it for a reason, Phil. They do it because they know that you overpay. You overpay week 1. Shout out to Mark Hutchinson, Farm Boy 86. Hit the music,
Insert
Phil.
cash or select payment type.
Sonic Boom!
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, man. Always a great supporter of the channel. Says, good evening, Primetime, Game Time. Just be you. Bryan, man, that's what I'm trying to say with the
What's up,
trip.
Jimbo?
I like
brother?
you just being you in the sense of trying to get me involved, and of course, year round.
I'm not like other people though, Phil, where I'm like, how can you haven't done nothing? How can you haven't done nothing?
You haven't done anything, Phil. What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, I don't do that because I know I couldn't do it either. So yeah, it has nothing to do with that. You're not into it for a buck necessarily. But thank you, Mark Hutchinson. Where the hell was I? What was I talking about? I was talking about like we need. Yes, I'm looking forward to this whole off season. I'm looking forward to getting beyond tomorrow's game, Phil. As much as it's the America's game, my kids looking forward to seeing Bad Bunny, and that's all well and good. But once that's over, then it's all Cowboys all the time. You said, how do I feel? Is that what the question? I feel really good so far, brother. I do. I feel good about what we're doing now. Right now.
Right now. At
we'll
the moment.
See.
Well, in a couple of weeks, it could be a whole different story. Now, when we talk about that, I think, just being able to kind of allow Shadi to kind of do the coaching staff whole situation, I think that says a whole lot about hoping that he, like a Bill Parcells would say, allowing him to kind of, buy some of the groceries if he's going to allow him to cook. And I think that's kind of something that we were lacking prior years, other than this past year where the coaching staff was still new. They allowed the scouting department to really kind of take control, and I feel like they really kind of got some solid pieces into this franchise. Now, when we go into this next upcoming draft, obviously not a whole lot of picks. I think you allowed the board to kind of come to you. I think we can both agree. If there's been some situation where I've seen like Daniel Jeremiah, which has been totally wrong. I think you pointed that out on yours, where you were comparing what he's gone with. If you pick this and compared to what Dallas has actually picked, he's had a very low possibility of actually success. Go ahead.
Dallas's scouts have done better than Daniel Jeremiah and Mel Kiper. Now, this is Bobby Belt. That's one thing we can say about Bobby. Bobby's good in that respect where he's good with the numbers. I mean, he has the time. That's his job, right? Radio. He doesn't have another job, and then YouTube on the side. That's what's nice, right? Yeah. You got a producer in the back. But Bobby can, say, well, like I need stats on this, I need stats on that. And that was a stat. Dallas, since in the last 10 years, is number 1 in the league. Number 1 in hitting. Again, even with the Mozzie Smiths, right?
The Taco Charltons.
And even with that, Dallas in the first round hits big.
And who usually doesn't like tacos and stuff?
Yeah, I had tacos for dinner. A little leftover
Our
taco.
whole fan base
salad.
is all pissed off with tacos and stuff because of one guy.
Yeah,
that's kind of bad. That's kind of bad when you make people eat tacos.
Michael Hobble, what's up, brother?
But when you look at the history, I think yes, you're right there. And then you got 2 first-round draft picks going into this draft, and nothing in the second day. could change. Obviously, could change in the sense of tags that you may have placed on players, or obviously we haven't even gotten to that point of the draft yet because you don't know what's going to happen in between.
Right.
But even in the sense that as much as Jeremiah could be wrong, he points out a situation where a lot of the people that you may be interested in at that 12 position, maybe get wiped off the board, and you're allowing you to either trade back or hoping that you're not going to just sit there and kind of pick whatever is there. I'll take your strategy, over the Cowboys in past years. But what would be yours if you're in a situation where you get kind of wiped out there? Are you thinking about sitting back? Are you going to stay there and just get the value at that
I don't
position?
think we can afford to move up, even though I would like to. Again, I just don't think we can afford to. Real quick, Michael Haba, hi Gametime, Ryan. I just don't draft anyone from University of Michigan. Keep eating tacos. Yeah, I hear you, man. But
I'm going to say the University of Miami might be a better situation, in this draft as well too. And I bash some stuff, but there's a lot of guys coming out of there,
see,
especially defensively.
That's where you miss, Michael Haba, right, Phil? When you say, well, I would almost equate that to, well, we missed on Morris Claiborne, so we're never going to draft up again because we can't. No, you can't be gun shy, right, Phil? You got to be. I just want my team to have a game plan. That's all. Have a game plan.
Yeah, but
and
he's
stick
not wrong.
to your
He's
game
not
plan.
wrong in the sense
Adapt.
of I don't think there's anybody in Michigan that I'm going, oh, I want that guy on my defense, or I want that guy on my offense. So
Michael Haba, me too, brother.
Yeah, so I totally get it.
I respect him.
Yeah.
Randy McIntyre, what's up, man? Vinny Hagan, what is Vinny saying? Vinny says, yes, Randy. Oh, yeah, well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to it, but we could touch on it real quick before we move on.
See, I'm not a hurt gamer, but I respect game, and, man, they had a hell of a defense, and I think if you can pick some pieces off of that defense, or whether Ohio State or something like that, I think you're going to definitely add some value here, and if you can do it in the process of trading back, I think, and we'll talk about some of these draftees or whatever that are going to be possibly a situational, I think, as much as, okay, at this moment, when we look at the date, February 7th or whatever, who at the 12th pick is the guy that everybody keeps projecting? And I think this is what we should broadcast now, because it could be changing in the next couple of months here. So, Brian, in your mind, who's that guy?
Who is that guy? Who do I want, or who do
No.
Who is everybody?
Who is everybody? And you seeing the analyst? Sonny Styles, exactly. The linebacker itself. Now, when you see him, have you seen his game? Have you seen what would be your opinion about him?
I like him. I
like him? Do you think he's kind of undersized a little bit?
No, because I think the type of defense that we're going to play, I don't have a problem with it. But my question to you is, Sonny Styles, how does he fit in the room? And you said, well, who's in the room? Well, I don't even know who's in the room. I want Leofau Marist to have a shot. We heard how great he was, and then we enter Eberfuss, right? And Eberfuss basically tells him, you're on the bench, and we don't know what we got now. So I think he's in the mix. You got Shamar James, and you got, oh my God, you got the Agent Zero, right? So my question to you is, how does Sonny Styles fit with those guys? And my opinion, you can't overlook that, but I would want a bigger guy. Right.
Okay. That's kind of where I'm jumping, because when you're looking at the 12th pick itself, to me, I kind of want a difference maker. And I'm not saying Sonny Styles isn't that type of guy, because you don't know where he's going to go, eat some peanut butter, all that kind of stuff. But again, he's a guy that makes plays, so you can't argue about that. He's in the position, when you talk about the defensive tackles holding up those blocks and taking up Ryan Clark, whether it's Osa, whether it's Quentin, these guys are going to be taking up blocks, so you're going to have some linebackers coming in free. And when you give him the ability to do that, he finds those holes, he's able to read and really cover. But when you see guys like CJ Allen do kind of the same thing, but a little bit in a bigger frame, do you get pointed towards that? When I look at that possibility, I also look at a guy like Mesador, I think it is, from
Yes.
Miami.
Yeah,
And I
right.
look at him and I see Styles' game very similar. You give him an open path. He has the ability to kind of run around guys, has that little bit of move. So I see a lot of similarities in the game, but you're not picking him at the 12th. So, I mean, to me, there's things that if he does get wiped off the board, you can have a backup plan to still go with. But, you know, when you look at the style of linebackers, you know, do we need more of a bigger linebacker than we do another kind of overshown type of situation?
Well, this is where. What's up, D'Angelo? How are you, brother? This is where free agency comes into play, right? Yeah. Again, that's why, you know, like when we talk draft now, it's fun for us to do it, but we have no idea who they like. I'm expecting a Singleton and a Quincy Williams to possibly be here. So I ask you, if you get a Singleton and a Quincy Williams, obviously, I mean, there are so many linebacker free agents that I would address that position in free agency with the return of Shamar James, with Leah Fowl, with Overshown, you know, and then you can draft one still. We're not saying you can't, but it doesn't have to be at number 12, right? And that's what I would tell you. But in the way that you asked it, I would rather go with corner than linebacker, because I think a linebacker is a little deeper. You know, you got C.J. Allen, who, per Bobby Belt, Dallas is more high on the linebacker from Texas, Anthony Hill Jr., than C.J. Allen. Per Bobby, per the guys that are, like Ultra says, around the team. So, you know, there are a lot of guys, you know, but again, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech.
He played some good football. he played some
Lander
really good
Barton,
football.
who we liked last year, didn't have as good a year this year. Really still like him out of Utah. So I just think linebacker at 12 is a no for me, unless somehow Arvell Reese dropped. But that's not happening, people. That's not in this world. I don't even know that Sonny Styles drops. And this is my question to you. Let me ask you, what position? Let's just forget free agency, because I do want to touch on that as soon as you're done with this question.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, but who would you take? What positions would you be looking at number 12, assuming we don't trade 12, right? So,
Well, the number one position I would want to fill at the 12th position would probably be a defensive end. That would make me feel comfortable if you could trade back and still get a defensive end. But I think a quality defensive end that you could get would be at 12. Now, there's some ones that I'd rather trade back and pick than sit there and kid it like a Falk from Auburn and stuff like that. You know, I not to say I don't like his game, but I don't like him at 12. You know, I want to get value out of this, because that's what, when you're sitting there and you're trading off your picks to try to get other people, you need to be able to pick value. You need to be able to trade back, pick those guys, do the Jimmy Johnson thing where you're picking at those guys exactly where they need to be picked. You know, right before somebody else with value. Oh, I need that position filled as well too. And with that being said, I think defensive end would be my number one, and then that 20 pick would be my linebacker itself.
You're not going corner at all in the first round.
Here's the thing about with me. I get nervous as hell when it comes to corners in the first. I don't know. I'm not saying they're not worth it or anything, but I think they're just, to me, the biggest gamble out of every position that you could possibly pick in the first round. That one to me is always the biggest gamble.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. Here's my thing. Everybody has us taking Mansour Delane, and I would say,
I wouldn't be upset with it, but it's like
no. Well, here's the deal, though. He's not going to be there at 12. People, the best corner in the draft, my opinion, is not going to be there at 12. So my question to you guys who want a corner: are you going to take McCoy? Now you're going into Phil's mentality is, "Eesh, I don't know. It didn't even play this year. He's going to run the best. He's going to look the best. But we got to go from tape from 2024, Phil. And I'm not willing to take him at 12. That's just me. And then you start looking at other corners. Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina. I know Brian brought us. Right, Ultra loves him.
Yeah, Oscar was
He's
talking
risky.
about. He's talking about.
You got Avion Terrell out of
Rivers.
Clemson.
He's talking about Rivers from Duke.
Yeah, well, that's not a first-round guy. You got the Colton Hood out of Tennessee. You can't, like Keontae Scott. Again, nobody's jumping off. Outside of the lane, nobody's jumping off. I like Terrell. Don't love him. He's a small guy who gets beat against bigger receivers, but plays physical. You go figure. Maybe he's the Jordan Lewis. But in my mind, I think what they want to do is move Bland on the inside in a perfect world. This gets back to my question here before we go any further. Since we're talking about defensive backs and assuming that Mansour Delane is gone, let me just rattle off the free agent corners that we could possibly have. Again, my world is I'm going out and getting me a boundary corner in free agency. I know it's expensive, but at least you can get somebody who will, you can play at this level. Because you don't always know, right, Phil? Isn't that a confidence position?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, again, like I say that with the biggest gamble. I obviously understand, too. That's an extremely hard position to play.
I mean, the guy that jumps off the table was just released. Trayvon Diggs is out there, everybody. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't know. I'm just going to rattle off some names. Yeah. You may like it. You may not like it. Jamal Dean out of Tampa. He's 29 years old. He's not great, but he's
serviceable.
Yeah, Eric Stokes, the corner with the Raiders. He's 26. There you go. I have a name for you. Who I love. Wouldn't cost you that much. Greg Newsome, corner out of Jacksonville. 25 years old.
Okay, that's a little bit more. Yeah. Gives you that little bit of
White.
veteran presence and stuff.
You got Tre'Davious White, corner, Buffalo. Okay. Just looking down here, you got let's see here. You got Adoree Jackson. No, thank you. I'm just looking here. I'm looking at the names that I wanted to see. They don't rank them as far as how good they are.
No.
Cordell Flott, New York Giants. He's 24. He's not horrible. Fabian Moreau, Minnesota. Chidobe Awuzie. How about a return of Chidobe Awuzie? Yeah. Thank God CJ Goodwin's gone. Robert Rochelle, Rock Ya-Sin out of Detroit. He's a free agent. There's a lot of them. Ex-Cowboy Keeman Hall. No, thank you. Jack Jones. There's a name, Jack Jones. Dallas was in the market for Jack Jones 2 years ago. He's 28. He's with Miami. Remember at the trade deadline, they were trying to get Jack Jones. Okay. I like him. Nashawn Wright. Nah, I don't think we want to go back there, right? Even though he had a great year.
Yeah. No.
He's going to get way too much money.
Yeah, he's going to get more money than he... you don't want to get into that.
Yep, you got Jaquan McMillan out of Denver. Bo Melton, Green Bay. Here you go. Reek Woolen out of Seattle. He's playing in a Super Bowl. He plays the outside.
Reek Woolen. For something big?
They're saying he's going to get about $8.1 million per year guaranteed. So let's say it's a little more than that. Let's say it's 9 or 10 a year. So if you sign him to a 3-year, $30 million or $32 million deal, something like that. Reek Woolen to play the outside. He's in a Super Bowl. Yes, please. Sign me up for Reek Woolen. There's dude, just look when you guys get a chance. How many free agents? Jalen Watson out of Kansas City. He's 27 years old. You know, there's a lot of them. It's amazing how many that there are. So, long story short, Phil, let's go get one in free agency. Let's go get Reek Woolen to come in here and play. And he plays the boundary corner. And you'll have Ravel on the other side, hopefully, and you have Bland in the slot. You know, and and then you still have all your other guys.
Well, definitely in the interest in that sense, I think you really kind of have to go that direction because, you know, you already have quite a bit of young guys in there. So I think you need to kind of bring in some veterans. I mean, Bland can't be your veteran presence in that secondary. You know, he hasn't played, to me, enough in you know, healthy games in order to be that person that leads all the time. So I would be all about, you know, bringing in somebody there. But I think you kind of have to do that almost in every single level of that defense. You know, you got to put it maybe not the defensive line. I guess you could bring in the youth in that defensive line, but the linebacking core, I think you got to bring something in veteran wise and, you know, into the safety. What are you thinking about safeties? You know, what's going to happen this year with the safety position?
Yeah, well, Caleb Downs is what could happen, and in a lot of these mock drafts, he's not getting out, and we could talk about that. You know, Phil, the safety position, how, and I mean, this is a good question for Ultra and the people in the chat. This is how, like, a lot of the NFL teams look at it, right? They look at, like draft value. Don't draft a safety that high because you can get a safety. Whereas corners, offensive linemen, wide receivers are very expensive. Edge rushers are very expensive at free agency. So those are the players you want to earmark early in the draft rather than waste a pick on safety, which is not a high value dollar position. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on that?
I'm hoping that's what the top 10. I'm hoping the top 10 or so teams believe that, because, you know, if there's a difference maker, if somebody told you that Brian Dawkins was in this draft and stuff, are you going to let him slip through the top 10? You know, like, he had a difference. He made a difference in that locker room, his energy, the way he talked. He got people excited, motivated, and everything. You don't think he did stuff in the middle of the game and stuff? So when you got a guy that's making plays and leading a defense that's actually obviously competing for a national title, I mean, that says a lot about him when he's the top dog in that defense. I mean, so, and those are some names in that defense. So to me, I think you have to bring a guy like that in there, you know, whether he's the kicker, you know, Janikowski and stuff like that, you know, trying to kick bomb at, you know, before anybody was kicking 60-yard field goals, that was the leg, you know, before that. So, I mean, if he's a difference maker on your team, it's hard for me to ever argue not to draft him in the first round, right?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Or top
absolutely
10, right?
Yeah. So that's why I said, if Caleb Downs is there at 12, do you run the card in or do you look? Let's say Delane's off the board.
Oh, if Caleb Downs is there, I'm running that card in. I'm not.
So let's say it's Downs and Styles, right?
Yeah, I'm still picking Downs. I'm picking Downs. I feel like you can. I mean, with the Styles, like nothing against them.
Well, I've been doing mock drafts a lot and just looking at the names and, you know, early on in the process. I think Downs gets to 10 at least. So I don't think he goes before 10. I mean, you know, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what exactly the Bengals do. You know, Dallas could be kind of wiped out and in a position looking where, you know, in this draft that I was just messing around with, you know, Mendoza's gone. Bain's gone to the Jets. Tate is off the board at number 3. David Bailey goes 4.
See, I mean, yeah, you're thinking about, and that's what I'm saying. That's where DC4, George, Dallas Cowboys for life. George says that, you know, those positions needs are usually the top thing where those guys are drafting. You know, especially, I mean, but let's be real. When you're a team that's probably drafting the top 10, there's a lot of needs. You know, so I think there's a lot of directions you can go as well too. But I think if there's a guy screaming at a certain position and you need that position, I think obviously we can all put that together. It's like it's like the first round of the, first pick of the draft. We all kind of know there's going to be a quarterback. Hey, the Raiders need a quarterback. This guy's going to be coming out. So, it all makes sense there. I think everything else, with Washington, when you look at a team like that where they're picking at, where can we lean? We're leaning more towards they're going to be probably fixing their defense, correct?
Yeah, and I had the Giants taking Fano. I had Cleveland taking the Miami offensive tackle. I had Washington, since both of the edge rushers are gone, taking linebacker, edge, Arvell Reese. I don't know that they bring back Bobby Wagner, but I have them ending up with Reese.
And I agree with you in the sense of the Giants picking something offensively, especially something like a tackle or something to really kind of help that offense and protect Dark.
Yes, I think that's what will happen. You're going to have your pick of offensive tackle, and I think they will end up with Spencer Fennell probably. Cool. I think that's the most ready guy, even though I like the Miami guy better, but maybe not right away. So, but I got Delane going to the Saints, and then Jeremiah Love going to the Chiefs. So, how I had it was Downs to the Bengals and Jermod McCoy going to the Dolphins. So that means Dallas is on the board. Let me just ask you this question. In my little world here tonight, you're looking at guys like Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, who I think won't go as high as a lot of people think. Peter Woods, defensive tackle, Clemson, right? Might be the best guy on the board. You got Keldrick Falk, kind of a cumbersome, huge guy.
Reminds me of
Lomu, Mekhi Lemon. I've seen mock drafts. I want to say it was Mel Kiper who had Mekhi Lemon going first receiver off the board. There's a shocker to everybody. USC's Mekhi Lemon being the first wide receiver gone. That could very well happen. I don't see it now, but the people that you trust are saying. I'll be waiting to see what Dane Brugler has, your buddy. Sonny Styles is on the board. So in this scenario, where are you going? Avion Terrell, Caleb Banks, Kenyon Siddiq. These are the guys that are left. That's we got wiped out.
Yeah, exactly. If you're putting me in that situation, I think the guy that I walk away with is Sonny. I have to get a guy that at least makes plays. And I see it repeatedly. I can't explain his game sometimes. I need to study a little bit more about it. But when you look at him play, he makes plays. He's in the play.
No, Jimbo, not yet.
And so, it's hard to kind of, trade away from that, especially when we're talking about the first round. Well, and obviously in previous years, what's the average? About 15 are true first round draft picks, maybe possibly 20 if it's a really good draft. And so if you're sitting there at 12, depending on where you're trying to trade back out of, I think I think right there at 12, you're right on the verge of being wiped out already. So if your one guy is sitting there, I think you got to pick him, man. It's just, especially if it's defensively and, and we need to go into a direction of some young leadership there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a tough one now, and that's why I say hit free agency hard, because that could very well happen. I think we've all seen this happen before. You get involved, and early on, you got the internet people are far behind the actual NFL scouts, and you're going to see corners go. You're going to see offensive linemen go. You're going to see edge rushers go. So that would be a tough situation to be in. So just to me, I'm like this, Phil. Have your board on the side of your wish list and stack them, and then expect the worst case scenario. And then what are you going to do? And you have to rehearse that. I'm sure they do.
Well, I think by that point, again, when you almost point to every single person, and Downs being probably the exception, I think you always there's at least a backup in that position that kind of makes you wonder, at the safety position there are some guys that are playmakers, but are they at the level of Downs? No, but in a couple of years, who's to say that they won't be shining? But I think that's the exception. I think when I look at every other position, maybe Ultra says about the tight end position. I think that might be another one as well too. But there's usually that second guy or third guy.
That's why you pick. Well, Phil, that's why I said your guy Kenyon Siddiq, because he's in the mix if that happens. Sorry, he is. Let me get to Jesse Montanez. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, Jesse. He's saying that the Giants are going to go get the free agent Linderbaum from the Ravens. You still need. He's a center, Jesse, and Mel Kiper doesn't have Tate going to you. He has Mekhi Lemon being a better fit in New York, and that would be a great pick. I don't see Downs, Jesse, because of what I said. Downs will not go as high as people think because of the value of the position. Not to mention, they kind of got spurned with the guy that they took a few years ago out of Alabama, right? His name is slipping me. I think he went to Green Bay. Again, so... And who was it that we'll get to safety. That McNeil Warren, I think, brought us. I heard him say that everybody's waiting to see, the safety out of Toledo, his 40 time. They're saying he's going to run slow. So I think McNeil Warren can very well be out of the first round. I know everybody. This is what happens, right? It's the Micah Parsons effect. It's the Kenyon Mitchell effect. Well, we just saw a guy from Penn State. No offense, Jesse, but. Last year, what was his name, Phil? The top pick of Penn State?
Yeah.
The edge rusher. Abdul Carter did not live up to billing. Now, he was caught whacking off in the film room or whatever the hell he was doing. Or you're watching porn. But again, it's not an exact science, but Linderbaum stinks, says Oscar. Real quick, Oscar, is Momo with you right now? Is Momo with you as we speak? Momo actually came to Oscar's house, I believe. But anyway, where were we, Phil? Let's get back on track.
I think we're talking about defense. We're talking about the guys, what they're going to be needing, and we're talking about the Giants and what they needed. To me, if you're going to pick up a Linderbaum, if somehow the Ravens are not going to franchise tag him and sign him for somehow an extension, which is kind of crazy to me with the Ravens, I see a lot of holes in that game.
Hey, George, how you doing,
it's going to be better than what you have right now in the building. But again, Michael Smith's as a backup, I don't think that's a terrible thing. But getting yourself a tackle would probably be the next priority, and that's where I'm going to segue to that a little bit, Brian, because I think me and you are going to have different opinions when it comes to this category. But is there any scenario to you that the Cowboys pick offensive line in this first round draft?
Let me look here.
Because there's too much. To me, I can give you my opinion. To me, I was thinking that you weren't going to. There are some offensive linemen guys that I would like at the back of the first round if you're able to trade back.
Yes.
And you get
where
wiped
I'm at
out
now,
and stuff.
With this mock draft, no. There's not an offense. What I just told you with Mauagoa out of Miami gone and Fano gone, I'm not taking another offensive lineman at 12.
No, exactly. I'm not picking if those two kind of gone. That's what I'm saying. If you're trading back into the 20s and you're being able to pick up second, thirds, and stuff like that, and still get into the 20s itself, I think there's a lot of value there, obviously, because you can get twos here and then twos next year by moving that far back. To me, I like some offensive linemen. I mean, if you're really thinking about a possibility of Tyler Smith moving to the left tackle position, I love the guy out of Penn State at guard.
Lone?
Yes.
Lone.
Owane or whatever that.
Ola Vega Lone.
So when I watch him in his game, I really like, able to put some bodies on people, picking up, switching. Even there's I think there's some offensive left tackles that are possibility later on in the first round that if you're getting wiped out as well too. So I asked that just because, I know going into the off season, you were not all about anything about the offensive line, but I didn't know if maybe you changed your mind.
Let's talk about the offensive line. What if I told you that Terrence Steele will not be let go?
I would think and he restructures his contract. Is that what you're telling me? He's going to restructure his contract to something more suitable to.
It's
Terrence
not
Steele?
horrible now, but we all know right now that if we cut him, we will save 14.4, something like that.
14, 15, yeah.
15 million, something like that. But again, he wasn't horrible.
But is he worth that
He
big
was not.
hit in the thing? I think that's the biggest thing. When you could put somebody else in there and he's not struggling with the whole side of the ball. You know, the run game are great. You know,
I
pass
don't know
game.
that question to you.
Yeah.
Ultra, what do you think? Is Ultra Cowboy, are we going to cut Terrence Steele? Everybody's assuming yes, right? But, you know, I'm just very curious what people think, because I call the Steelers first and offer Steele for Nick Herbig. I like that idea. I like that better than. I mean, listen, we could talk about it all.
See, I'd
but,
be okay with that. Ultra. See, to me, that's what I'm saying. There's some offensive guys that I would be like, man, I think they would be great additions to this offensive line. And I think even at off the tackle, I do see some guys. There was that.
Right.
Let me see if there's that. You were talking about Fano going to the Giants, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I just mocked. I picked everybody, and because I know we were talking draft. I wanted to get all the names in front of me, and how I really think they're going to go, and that's why I have this
a guy
game
that I
wiped
was
out.
looking at that was at the back, and I was trying to figure out who to remember his name is the guy. I have the other guy from Utah. I have the Lomu.
Yeah,
like and he's the left tackle, and he looks like a guy that could put on some weight, kind of put something, kind of reminds me of some guys over there in Philly, and has big structure and being able to put his body in front of those guys no matter where they're blitzing.
He needs a little work.
But I saw a great switching when it came to the defensive line switching off. He was able to kind of read that very quickly. So yeah, I would agree with you. There's definitely some work that needs to be done. That's why he's right there where he's at. But is it because he's at where he's at because there's nobody else worthy of getting into the first round?
Well, and I know what you're saying. He needs to get stronger. That's what they say.
I
So
agree.
where's he coming into play? Like where's he playing?
Well, I mean, again,
If we draft him, where's he playing?
If you're taking out Steele and you put Guyton back at right tackle where he originally belongs, then you're putting him at left tackle. That's where I would think you'd putting him.
Yeah,
Where
I would
he
be
is comfortable at. He's at. That's
yeah,
where he's
he
at.
is. He is comfortable there.
Obviously, I know there's definitely some work. I mean, I don't know what Ultra thinks about that, and that guy's game. Even Freeland, Monroe.
Well, how about
Freeland?
this? Okay, all right. So how far down from Lomu do you have Caden Proctor?
Oh, so to me, I was a guy that liked
got a
Proctor.
world.
I like Proctor if you were like in the 24, 25 situation.
In a world where you're moving Tyler Smith to left tackle, and you're putting Proctor at guard.
Oh, guard.
How's that work? Well, I mean, that's what he's probably going to play, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a big stumbling buffoon.
6'6", 369 is a mammoth offensive lineman.
Yeah, I would say again, it just seems like you would want him at that tackle position. But I mean, obviously, he's gonna struggle a little bit with some speed.
He doesn't have elite range, so he's going to get blown. Like you said, there you go. Finish your scouting report because you were going to say it before I was giving.
Yeah,
you the
when I
scouting
watch
report.
it, I mean, even getting out in space and trying to get to the corner and those screens and stuff like that, I found they were just very like just very
I agree with you.
stumbly,
I would
kind
be
of
worried there.
Frankensteinish,
Yeah.
So I think he would definitely need to work on his footwork and everything. But if you're trying and you're not going to move him, you're going to roll other guys. And if you're offensively sound to think, hey, let's not move this guy, let him get comfortable and kind of be that anchor, and then we'll move everybody else. I think if you're doing those type of things, you're going to strengthen his game. But yeah, obviously when you're getting a guy like that, it's definitely a project. But you like where he, there's certain things that you can't teach, and that's obviously his size.
There's a guy that I love in this draft, and I don't know. I'll ask Ultra and you. Do you think Jennings Dunker will make it? I mean, we don't have a second round pick, but where do you have him? Jennings Dunker out of Iowa, 6'5", 320.
I would say I had him as a
He's-
third rounder. That's what I had him in the middle of the third round.
I love him. That's why in your scenario, and I hate talking trade down because, the odds of that. And the odds are Dallas is going to stick and pick 2 players in the first round. Let's just be honest. The odds are, we're hearing Max Crosby. He's in the building, right? And, if it's true that they want more than what Mike is, I don't know that they'll get it. There's a battle going on right now between what's his name? From the Fox guy. You got Jay Glazer saying it's going to be more than the Micah or on par with the Micah. And you got Ian Rappaport saying way less because of age. I don't know. But Jay Glazer is hardly wrong. If it's going to be that much, then I don't think he's going to get traded to us. I just don't. Sorry, everybody. And now, per the guys in the chat, Jerry's already come out and said they're making 2 first-round picks. Now, is that a leverage thing to value?
Like,
Phil,
hey, look, if you want to get into our things, you're going to really have to kind of blow up our
right,
skirts.
right, right. Or you're going to have to offer, come down on what you want, or whatever, So, oh, and I did find out something. Per Tom Downey, I did not know this, but next year's 1, Phil, is frozen. We can't trade next year's 1.
I don't understand what
because it's frozen. We're not allowed. Now, that's per Tom Downey and Chat Sports that we're not allowed to move our number 1 pick next year. Because remember, we have 2 of them, but right now, I keep saying
Green Bay will
the
own
Jets,
the better of the 2 first rounders.
The Jets will own the better of the 2
The Jets
for the.
Okay,
yeah,
so,
for the
so you have
wings.
to have that second one.
So it's frozen. We can't say.
I wouldn't. Nobody wants to, right? I agree. I think we all agree. Nobody wants to trade that number 1 next year. I mean,
we don't, but so
if anything, it allows you to lock that cookie jar up so you don't get tempted.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very good comment because next year's draft has more high end.
Oh hell yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, receivers are just way better. I mean, everybody's better. I know you're a big Mendoza guy, but I would say that a quarterback is even better. But hey.
Yeah, I like Mendoza. I think that's what's funny.
Yes, right, Jimbo. You're right. Hey, Linda, how are you?
But anyway, so as you're going into it, I think we can agree as well too. I think safety, other than that guy in the first round, there is no safety worthy of picking in that first round.
Let's talk about it
as
though.
well.
Let's talk about safety. We all have Caleb Downs as a beast. Who is your next safety?
Okay, you are going to laugh, and I think people are going to laugh. There's going to be some videos. I know Oregon, it definitely he had a hell of a game. I think there's guys talking about the Toledo guy as well too. To me, I like Ramsey out of USC.
USC, yes. I love him.
I was liking Ramsey in his place. Genesis Smith from Arizona. I think that's another guy. But again, these are guys that you can pick later on. That they're not worthy of first rounders. But I did like their play. I did like what they were able to add to their teams as well. I did see a lot of obviously flaws in the game. Getting out of coverage and out of position as well. I think that's something that when I was watching some of these linebackers, I was watching, these guys that we were talking about in the first round, those guys weren't out of position and stuff. I think that's what makes them high value. And I think that's why you're talking about with these safeties dropping as well, because not only do they have a lot more room to cover, but you got to be in the right spot, because we all know if you're not in the right spot, bad things can happen.
Yeah.
But who is a safety that sticks out to you?
Well, I'll give you a name that I like, but again, we're not. He's in a range where we don't have any picks, so he would fall in if we were to trade down. I like Jalen Kilgore out of South Carolina. I like him. I like he's a bigger guy, very rangy guy, very athletic. Scouting report on Kilgore profiles one of the most unique and he's 6'1", 219, sprawling length, charged up, explosion. He takes reps at boundary corner, Phil. Nickel, box safety, and field safety. Kilgore's versatility is a testament to his intelligence, vision, and football IQ. Okay, all trades have used. He's racked up tackles for loss, 3 tackles for loss, 5 INTs, 5 pass breakups. Again,
no source to me. That was pretty cool. That's a nice one.
I like him, and I picked him because of our new I almost said head coach, our new defensive coordinator. He likes guys that could be all over, right? He wants a guy because he likes to do those fronts, meaning Christian Parker, where he's going to give you vanilla until the snap, and then things are going to happen. So just look for Jalen Kilgore. That's who I like. If you're talking, I like Dylan Thieneman, number 2. And then I have Kamari Ramsey. I have Kilgore next. I know there's other guys in between, Genesis Smith and Louis Moore and maybe Bud Clark, but I like, I just like the traits in this kid. So maybe like almost like a Darren
I know
type.
this is early, and I love to throw this out there. It's very early. But do you have a pet in this thing? Somebody that you just jumps off the board that you wish that could be a Cowboy, whether it's in the mid rounds, late mid, first, or whatever like that.
It's right there in the chat. It's right there in the chat. Jacob Rodriguez.
I like that. That's a good one. I love his play, especially in the playoffs and how they were playing and stuff. He was definitely playing some hard football.
But let me ask you this question. I don't know how deep you are into linebackers, but
that's where I was going to go on my pick.
What's that?
That's where I was going to go on my pick. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. Let's say this. Let's say that we're at 20, right? And Styles is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say that you're going linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
You got C.J. Allen there, Anthony Hill Jr., Jacob Rodriguez, who, listen, if you like him, we were told back in the day when Trayvon was drafted that they were considering him in the first round, and we got him all the way in the middle of the second round, right? So who are you taking if I had to tell you that you have to take a linebacker and you got C.J. Allen
at that 20 position? I can't trade out. I can't do any of that stuff.
Well, now what? All right, or you trade out and you're taking a linebacker. You know
trade
what I'm
back.
saying? Let's say you trade.
If I was going to be in that scenario, when you look at those guys, as much as Rodriguez, I think balled out and stuff, and he was always in there. I like C.J. Allen. I really like his game.
He's going to be the pick, isn't he? Because of the new linebackers coach, right?
Mm-hmm. That to me makes the most sense. I mean, the way he plays, just the way that he is in the locker room, even out in the field. I think you have to bring a guy like that in. I think that's what I was talking about in the sense that, being in the right position. I see when you watch him play, he's definitely always usually in the right position, and so I hardly ever saw him out of position, and so I think that is always being there. It's just being present. I think that's being like a parent, right? Just you got to be present, and I think that's a big thing that being a good linebacker.
Now,
when you have a bad linebacker, that's a bad step carriage. When you have Murray that's in the wrong gap and the wrong thing, I mean, it makes a difference and stuff. And so to get a guy that's going to be at least in the right stuff, or that's able to diagnose a play very quickly, I think that's the biggest thing you got to be able to do at linebacker, and that's what I like about C.J. Allen.
Now, and I love C.J. Allen, but he's not a big guy. So
no,
do you
but
see
you
that
can
as an
see
issue?
where I see he's bigger than other guys. Yeah. Oh, but I see that he's
Yeah, he plays big.
How many big linebackers are there in this draft that you're sitting there going, there's that?
Well, I'm only saying he's 6'1", 235, but plays big. If you know what, let's just his direct competitor, Anthony Hill Jr., who we're hearing, might be, maybe. Hold up here, Anthony Hill Jr. 6'3", 235. So basically the same weight. He's just a couple inches taller. Yeah. I don't know if we're getting smoke screens, but we're hearing that the Cowboys like Anthony Hill Jr. better, scouts. But then you bring in Georgia guy. And you know how Dallas is, right? I like C.J. Allen better.
Yes, thank you, Linda. That's exactly who I was going to go with. That's my pet. That's my pet right there.
Yeah. Cincinnati?
Yes, Jake Golday. It's to watch him play
6'4",
again
240.
where he is in the position where you can pick him up at draft. You're going to get value. You're going to get a starter. You're going to get a guy that's there. He's always in there, very great at diagnosing plays, always in on the tackle. I watched his tape and and I was trying to find some negatives as well too. But man, I how he's not higher, I think that's going to maybe change here in the next couple of months, especially with the combine and everything like that as well too. But I think that is an amazing value at that position there.
Michael says Cowboys need a linebacker badly, and I agree. I mean they're going to get multiple, but I think they need to hit that in free agency. That's my thing. I mean, I don't know if you want me to. I mean, do you want me to talk about the possible free agent linebackers that are out there,
Talk
Phil?
about
Do you want to hear it?
Let's do
All
it.
right,
We got to.
okay.
It's part of the whole thing. How do you
Well,
leading into
all
the
right,
draft,
I'm going to
right?
rattle off some names, right? Again, this is
Milano.
This is
That's
even,
what I'm taking. Oh, okay, sorry.
this is even a bigger list than the corners. This blows the corner list out the way. Okay, let's start with the easy one. Bobby Wagner. He'll play next year at 36. He's a free agent.
I would kick those tires.
Yeah. Levante David. He's 36. I would pass on him.
Yeah, I would.
He's just a little. Yeah.
I would have. I would have taken him years ago, though. But yeah, now it's like.
Here's a guy. Here's a guy. I love this guy, and you may have him for 1, maybe 2 years. Demario Davis, free agent.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man.
I think we were all talking about that, trying to get in that. Getting that trade going by the end of the season there. So I think going for free agency again, until they tell you that they can't do it, I think you got to kind of assume that they can.
I'm just Matt Milano. Yeah, he'll play next year at 31. We all love him. Buffalo.
I like it.
I'm going to skip over Von Miller. Quincy Williams will play at 29 next year. Not going to cost you much.
Yeah, brother of another guy. They played again great together. I thought as soon as that was happening, I thought that was always a possibility. So I think that is a huge one. I think if any of the linebackers, I think that one is your highest percentage.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Alex Singleton. Now he will play at 32 next year. Free agent out of Denver. Played under Christian Parker in Denver. Knows the scheme. Don't you think that we're going to get either Singleton or Dean? I'd rather have Singleton. He'll be cheaper. But, don't you think he's going to want to bring in a guy or not necessarily?
Oh, I think he'll bring in a guy. I don't know if he'll be one of his guys.
like one of his guys.
I don't know.
One of his
Not
guys.
necessarily.
All right.
I mean, with him, the way that it sounds like when you just hear how he's been in the past, everything, he scouts. He's a hell of a scout. So I mean, to him, I mean, what doesn't he know? Working with you, I think that's the only thing. I mean, maybe he can make some calls there, but obviously, I think he knows what your weaknesses are and what what your strengths are as a defensive coordinator. I think that's what we were lacking last year, right?
Yeah. How about Quay Walker? Oh, he's going to play at 26.
Yeah,
probably
was just saying that's his guy. And coming out of the draft, that was a guy that you and I kind of pointed out. A couple of times.
I like Quay Walker.
So
Devin Bush.
Yeah.
How about Devin Bush? I mean, he's going to play at 27. Devin Bush out of Cleveland. With all the turmoil there, maybe he slips out the door. Devin Lloyd, Jacksonville, play at 27.
Again, I
mean,
like
there's
that one.
There's a shit ton, Phil. That's why I said, I can go like Denzel Perryman, but I don't know what people think. One of Denzel Perryman, Eric Wilson, Minnesota Vikings. Just looking. I'm gonna skip over Jack Sandmore.
Enjoy the next 24 hours, man. You're still champs for 24 hours or less than, right?
Yes, exactly. Nakobe Dean of the Eagles. Interesting to see what happens to him. He's only 25. There's just a lot, man. There's just a lot of guys. Shaq Thompson out of Buffalo. I think we all like the other Buffalo guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. There's just a lot. No to Devin White. This just goes on and on, man. No to Isaiah Simmons, but he's out there. There's a lot of linebackers. So basically what I'm saying is let's hit free agency, but it's always fun talking draft. So where you at, man? Where you at next?
So right now, I think if anything, I mean, we're getting to the point where we're talking about these guys as well. I mean, before we go into any kind of drafting or mock draft or anything like that, which you gotta do one or two, right? You can't just walk away from an early draft like that. But is there any in the first round? Obviously we're let's say you're trading back or anything like that. And I know you've talked about him, so I think there was, especially with Ultra talking about limit and everything. Is there an offensive weapon that at 12 that you got to go, ooh, you're scratching your head and you're thinking about that possible pick?
Yeah. Weapon, huh?
Yeah, so I mean, there's been some talk. Obviously, Jeremiah Love is the guy that gets talked about, that gets dropped and stuff like that. You know, are you
I
picking a
don't think
running
he's gonna
back?
be there.
Yeah, let's
I don't
just say
think he's
he
gonna
is.
be
Let's just
there.
say hypothetically, all
Okay.
shit happens and stuff and the things, and he is sitting there. Is he a guy that you know, like, okay, let's say you are able to bring Javonte Williams back? Are you bringing in Love?
I don't think you can pass him up, man. This is why free agency's big, not for any one name, but to take all the needs away. Now, you're not going to take all the needs away, right? But this is when Dallas drafts well. This is when they draft best player available. Now, you could say that or use Jeremiah Love to then move down. But either way, it would be involving Love. Love would go at 12, but just maybe not to us or to us. If Nakai Lemon's there, I think I would like Lemon over Love. That's just me, and I know that's weird, right? No. But listen, you hear what's going on with George Pickens. Jerry is going to go out of his way to overpay for George Pickens, but okay, so what? We'll have George Pickens, and you go get Mekhi Lemon. Good luck. Listen, you got to take best available. Mm-hmm. You do. I mean, I would be more excited about rolling the dice.
Yeah, so to me, like when you look at the offense, if I'm willing to pick an offensive lineman at that spot, I think I'm willing to be okay with strengthening our offense, especially when you're looking at Javonte Williams and you're looking at Love there, like okay, now you're kind of clashing there as well. Does it devalue that pick if you're picking it at that range? But that's a solid piece. That's a solid piece that would be in your offense. One goes down, you have the other guy. I think I still need to watch a lot of more film to see how he was picking up the blitz and everything as well too. So I think I haven't found that part of his game as well too. But the rest of it, I mean, it's there. His vision, being able to see where the holes are opening up, breaking tackles, being able to go north and south. Hardly ever really. I mean, he's bouncing it, but he's not bouncing it right. With a lot of guys where that's just their automatic reaction to do it. He's usually bouncing out with a purpose as well too. So it's hard to try to walk away from a guy that's that can be a difference maker when the game is on the line. When we're talking about Javonte Williams, what really stands out, other than those times where he was actually the three things that really stand out, I think, is obviously the picking up the blitz, the leaning forward. But I think the biggest thing as well, too, is that when he was about to be tackled for a loss or two, he would find ways to get positive yards. And I think that's what you get with this guy. I'm not big on wide receivers. But, again, when you're looking at a guy like Lemon, man, I'm not going to be disappointed as well, too. That's going to be you can't cover them all type of situation. And especially if you start giving one-on-ones out there because you're trying to double cover, maybe those two outside guys as well. It just opens up stuff, and let's put those linebackers in him. Well, guess what? Jake Ferguson's there as well, too.
Well, let me give you this scenario. Let's say Lemon or Tate is there at 12. Because there is a world where Lemon goes early and Tate is the one that's on the board. There are actual scouts who think Lemon is better than Tate.
I believe that too. I think so too. I'm not. I'm
so if you're okay, so if you're looking at Tate on the board, and let's say you're talking about offensive weapons, let's say Tate, Jordan Tyson, Kenyon Sadiq, Jeremiah Love are all on the board.
I'm looking, by that point, you've given me a wide variety of guys that I can now look at my roster and go, where do I need that help the most?
So you're going for need over best player. How would you stack them? I know it's early, but if you were to stack them,
to me,
I know it's tough.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
I would probably go.
I'd say, to me, I still feel like Love is a little bit more valuable than Tate is there. Yeah. And
you would
I don't
go
know.
Love?
I would go Love. I know probably
Love,
unpopular.
Tate?
Love.
You
Tate.
would go Love?
Yeah.
Tate, Tyson. Now I think Tyson drops a little bit. So, and these are all the questions, right?
Sadiq,
these are
to
all
me, like, again, tight end. I wouldn't be against getting tied in, because I still believe you really need that, either that guy that's going to overtake number one, or that guy that's going to really be a strong number
Well,
two.
you brought up tight end. Let me just tell you another category of free agency that's through the roof. Let me just quickly rattle off some names. Obviously, Travis Kelce's probably going to retire. David Njoku, he's going to play at 30. Love him. Love Dallas Goedert. Right? He's going to play at 31.
Njoku, I think I just remember a lot of the drops. That's what I always remember.
He does. But Dallas Goedert, Taysom Hill, Kyle Pitts, 25-year-old Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, man,
those are just some of the names that
I think with this
out there.
Is he, if he gets any kind of, sorry to kind of stumble through that because I'm trying to get this point right, but when you look at Pitts, the value there is what he did in college. It's definitely not what he's done in the NFL. So do you think he would rack up a bigger amount? Or do you think he's
Isaiah Likely?
Do you think you have the ability to actually sign a guy like Pitts?
Well, if I'm the Eagles, I'm going after Kyle Pitts. If I'm the Birds, I would move on from Goddard and go to Kyle Pitts. That's what I would do. Just dare to be great. Dallas, I don't know. Does he block good enough for Dallas? Likes those guys who can block. That's why I was, that's why I brought up Njoku. That's why I was saying Taysom Hill, but I don't really see that.
That's not a bad one, Ultra. That's actually pretty good. Pitts in Kansas City would be a match made in heaven for them.
Yeah, there you go.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, to know that, especially if a guy named Kels, actually retires or is thinking about that, you're thinking about, man, I could really pair myself with a really great quarterback, and really kind of build my name, pull it out of the mud that is sitting there right now. So that's not a bad one at all.
Yeah, I just want to point out, everybody, that there's a lot of good free agents, and we're going to know a lot about what they're thinking based on who they're bringing in free agency, correct, Phil?
Yep,
we're going to know.
Yep.
I mean, that's how teams cook. That's how we cook in draft, is when we go and get solid free agents.
Do you think I guess maybe this is a stupid question, but I don't think it's as stupid as people may think it is, because especially with this front office, do you think the coaching staff will be deeply involved in those signings, in those guys? Who are we targeting and stuff,
Yeah. Dallas always relies on their coaches, sometimes too much. But listen, I don't blame Dallas for doing it. If your coach really wants a player, right?
Yeah.
Here's my thing, and I'll just go with Broadus always says, he's actually been saying some good things lately, so I'm hot and cold with him.
Man,
but,
I always love his scouting.
I'm hot and cold with him because he's always scared. He's always scared of everything. So, but he knows his shit. So
he's been around and he understands.
Yeah,
that's why Jerry was. He was scared.
Yeah, he's just scared of everything. I'm afraid. Now stop being afraid. But you hire scouts for a reason. So trust the scouts. And do not allow somebody to override a scout. If it's close, then you allow the coach to have a say, a real say. But, I think the best thing to do is have the scouts bring the names to the coach. The coach can be in the room watching the film. That's fine. That's your job. You get a feel for who can fit your scheme, like Christian Parker, if that's what we're talking about. Fine, but then that's when Will and scouts say, okay, well, how about this guy? We want to show you tape of this guy instead of getting caught up in names like we always do, right, Phil? Mm-hmm. Everybody gets caught up in names. I tell Vinny Hagan this all the time. Like, Vinny, stop getting caught up in the names, especially early in the draft, because when the draft comes around, just going down, there's going to be guys dropping. We keep hearing Keldrick Falk. Keldrick Falk is not going to go in the top 10, people.
No.
He may not go in the top 20. He's a cumbersome, big defensive end who hasn't shown much about getting to the quarterback. That's the opposite of what we need.
I know, right, I said it earlier, but I think when I look at his game, it reminds me of David Irvin. Just a big dude that's in that the defensive line. He's going to stay his kind of gap. He's occasionally going to be in the backfield, but he's not going to change the game. He may make a stop for you all of a sudden to win the game as well too. So I think he's a solid piece, like a Dorrance Armstrong type of thing, where he's a solid piece, and maybe somebody else gets positioned that'll make him shine a little bit more. But he's not going to be your main shining piece.
That's why I said you got to look at Peter Woods too, because with this new defense that we're playing more 5-man fronts. That's what we did well last year at times. I know it's hard to say that, but we did. A guy like Peter Woods would be unbelievable. Where do you play him? Well, I would have to figure that out. Okay, whatever. I'll figure it out. You're going to rotate them. You're going to keep everybody fresh. That's just the best thing you could possibly do. But, there are good. In that scenario that I said earlier, Peter Woods is in the conversation.
Yeah,
Jeremiah Luck's gone.
When I look at Woods and stuff like that, I mean, do we need another defensive interior guy with what we have right now? I think
I hear you, but he might be the best player on your board. Maybe.
Yeah, by that point, again, get more value. I think by that point, it's just
somebody's going to want to have to go up and give you something. I don't want to trade down to get underwhelmed with. Because that's what's happened a couple times.
I don't want to also pick a guy that's going to be kind of hidden in the depth chart. Not to say he won't, especially with the rotation and how they rotate. Obviously he'll get playing time as well too. But then what's that say about Jay over there? Is he now that guy that's the alternative in and out of the roster? Is he that one we float out there, dropping him off the roster and the possibility of people picking him up? So so I worry about that, especially since we've been burnt in the past with Ridgeway, and not to say that he ended up being anything in the future, but that was a fan favorite, that it was hard to watch him to go to a rival.
Yes, definitely. The exciting thing is, Phil, when we go into this draft, we're gonna have 2 number 1 picks, and if we don't, then that means that they've done something exciting, right? Yeah. Just our luck, we'll go to a draft where we won't have a pick until day 3 when we're on the way home. Yeah. Wouldn't that be funny? Dallas Cowboys trade 12 and 20 for Max. They're not doing that, but trade 12 and 20 for Max Crosby. We don't have a day 2 pick.
We gotta go all over there. We're like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing? Phil's gonna be like, I paid for a plane ticket and a room and a house for this shit.
And watch this. Watch the third day.
So I'm almost like, no, please, F you, Max.
Don't ruin my vacation, man.
Like we need picks.
Unless they're gonna pull him out there on the stage and show him the jersey and everything like that, then that's the only way I'm gonna go.
All right, I got a question for you then. At what point, where do you have Ty Simpson being drafted? Because obviously Oregon screwed us over.
Yes.
With the quarterback Dante Moore.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit, because to me, what's the value there? What's the value there? Where is the value there of Dante Moore going back into college? Oh, I'm going to win the national championship. Is that his whole thought process? Oh, I want to be the first pick of the draft, not the second pick of the draft. What's going on there?
I'm thinking he doesn't want to go to the Jets, the Cardinals.
Guess what, man? You start up to shit. It's gonna be next year. It's just gonna be the next year. It's all it is.
Yeah,
all you're doing is delaying it a year.
You might get a chance to go to the Eagles next year. At the top of the draft.
Obviously, to me, when I look at Simpson,
that was a joke, everybody.
Look at Simpson. No, man. When you look at his value, I think he's a second rounder, third round. But where will he be picked? Shit. I mean, he could. I don't think he's top 10. I mean, I could see him in the later rounds of the first.
It was a joke, Logan. Take a breath.
But when I look at his value, I think he's more of the early second in that category. But I think somebody will overvalue it. I think somebody in the end of the first round will need somebody and will go up there and kind of go up there. Maybe it was one of these guys that are picking in the top that are going to pick her back around. Let's say. Do you think the Jets, after taking maybe a defensive guy the second round,
Linda?
Do you think that they take him?
I don't know. How many? The Browns. How many quarterbacks are they going to draft?
Well, Browns got the 24th pick of the draft. So could it be there?
Yeah, let me let my dog out. He's growling. My wife's sleeping. Hold on.
So I mean, I think there's some positions there. Yeah, when you're looking at the top, especially in the second round, you got the Jets. I mean, there's if nobody somehow has come up there, and you're thinking about set day 2, and they didn't get their quarterback because obviously somebody extends out. When you look at is Arizona a possibility? I don't think they're thinking quarterback, even though they got a guy that's scrambling around back there. Tennessee is Tennessee a possibility of a quarterback, even though they
Ultra had a good text. Said I don't know if you got to him. He said Ty Simpson can go 13 to the Rams.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think with the value of a quarterback, especially if there's nobody else there. I mean, is Trinidad a possibility, or is that a guy more towards the end of the second, third value? But where is he going to be picked because there's nobody else? I always wonder, because that's the one position that you can't sit there and go, well, he's definitely at the end of second and third. Well, he's going to be like that guy the Raiders pick. Oh, well, he's really fast. I got to pick him in the first round.
I like Nussmeier.
Nussmeier from
Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU. I just think he's more of a prototypical, but he's another smaller guy. That's why I said it's kind of a weak class.
It is.
You got your guy, right? You got Fernando, 6'5", 225. He's
you're
clearly
gonna laugh who I like at the quarterback position in this draft.
Let me guess. I'm looking at the names. You like Cade Klubnik?
No.
Who do you like?
I like the Vanderbilt quarterback, Diego Pavia.
Of course you do. Diego Pavia.
Yeah, whatever. Like he's
5'10", 198.
He's a late guy because he's a short dude. Flutie flakes. He's kind of got to do.
Flutie flakes.
But I laugh. It's just because I do like how he played quarterback. But he a little dude. Can't play that in the NFL. Maybe he'll be a Tyson Hill type of guy.
Yeah. I think it's a horrible quarterback draft.
It is.
Sorry.
It is.
I think it stinks. So, that's why I said next year. It's funny. Somebody's going to get Drew Oller, and I know he had a horrible year this year. And everybody.
Somebody's going to get Carson Beck. How about that? Somebody's going to get Carson Beck. He's going to be
235.
He's going to be. Where do you think he goes? To me, because he's that one that he could be.
Beck?
He could be a Sam Darnold, where he like, oh, nobody values him, but then he could lead a team that has a defense.
220. He throws his coaching under other players under the bus. Well. I think he drops in the draft because his attitude sucks. Yeah, but who knows?
Well, obviously I think so, but at some point he's going to be drafted. I think that's kind of the where. Yeah. Where do you think somebody kind of goes in that sense? Because again, if you're looking for your guy that's going to lead you this upcoming year, not very many in this draft can you hang that on. How do you think about Trinidad from Ole Miss?
I'm not. Who's that? Trinidad Chambliss, whatever.
Yeah, that when it came to the playoffs, he played that pretty good the first two or stuff like that. I think when the game really mattered. A thicker dude, but he made some pretty good throws.
6'1",
again, not great,
yeah.
not great, not amazing with the decision making. I think if you have a good system in place for him, I think he could find some success.
Back up, maybe. I think
that's what I'm saying. I think that's what you're looking at a lot of the time, other than in Mendoza. I think you're seeing
Football Fanatic says he's a winner. He's a winner. I get it. I mean, I'm not here to hammer, but next year's a draft for a QB again. But I do love Mendoza. He's a winner. You were talking about winner, Mendoza. And I'll be curious to see how many Indiana guys get drafted. What's your thought on the Indiana the corner Pons, D'Angelo Pons?
I know when I was watching
5'9", 170.
5'9".
Skinny little guy.
I think there's a lot of those guys.
I don't see it at this level. I don't. But
You never know. I mean, those guys that play sometimes, like if you can play, you can play. If you're in position to make the play, I think the only thing that you're disadvantaged of is those fades and everything as well too, because it's already hard to get into position and jump and when the ball is coming over the top. And so if you're that short, you really need to be on that hip of that receiver. So as long as you can do that, I think you can find some success. But not something that I saw him do a whole lot of in college.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this draft. So there's a lot of guys, and you got to get, there's a few real good guys. I think we would, if it's looking,
When you look at Pons, I was gonna continue on to that with he had a great year. He definitely had an amazing year. I think last year when you look at some of his stuff, it wasn't good year, not a great year, and then the year before it was a great year as well too. So to me, his consistency shows that he could be definitely a hell of a contributor in the NFL. I think that's a thing. So I mean, as much as there may be some bashing on the size or whatever, I still think that he puts himself in a position to make a play. So I mean, when you look at maybe some of his stats and stuff like that, I mean, you're probably going to get a little bit more of a lenience towards this guy's a playmaker. So hey, I would not see that as a terrible choice though. I mean, again, he played, when you looked at him in the college playoffs, he was definitely making some plays.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see, Joe DeMasi, what's up, brother? Dallas actually had a better divisional record than y'all. Yeah, again, we got time for that, buddy. Let them. They're in their fields right now. We'll see. All I know is if Landon Dickerson calls it a career and Lane Johnson, it's a wrap. So for their sake, I hope they. For the Eagles' sake, I hope they come back for another year. I do. But Landon Dickerson, that poor guy has been under. He's had 2 ACLs. He was hurt a lot in college. He moved to Alabama from, I want to say, my University of Florida to Alabama. Massive injuries. He hurt his knee again this year. Not ACL, but dude's banged up. That's why they say don't make rational decisions right after the season. Wait for your body to heal. But if they lose those guys, it's a wrap. Sorry. It's hard to go to a new offense with the different offensive line. But, we got time for that. Let's let the season build up.
Yeah, I was hearing that possibility that 2 of them were going to be retiring this year. So
Again, even if they don't, they're on their. I would think, me personally, that maybe you bring back a what's his name who went to the Chargers last year. What's his name? Let's see, the offensive lineman who left, who they got from the Jets.
Trying to think off the lineman you got from the Jets.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't.
What
think
team?
right
What
now.
team? Who are you talking about?
Eagles lost the guy. Eagles lost the offensive lineman who they had gotten to the Jets in free agency. They chose not to bring him back. Mekhi Becton. That's it, Linda. Thank you.
But wasn't he released as well? I thought I saw that he was released somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he might come back, but that would be under the old regime in with Stout out. You know what I'm saying? Stout and you. But now, so we'll see. That'll be interesting. I'm not going to go down that hill of doing jumping jacks because guys have to retire. That's just not me. But, hey, if other people, what are you doing? You moving the chat? You messing with it?
Yeah, I mean, I had it all over my face. I was like,
I like it, though. I like it. Yeah. I like it. But, yeah, so we'll see. Free agency is for everybody. That's what everybody has to understand. All 32 teams get to play in free agency, not just Dallas. So it'll be interesting to see who ends up where. We're like Phil, we're in an age now where players want to move. They are ready to move. They hardly buy houses. They rent. And that's why after the game, they don't have a lot of maybe they're upset for like a couple minutes and then they're swapping jerseys one. And talking about vacations, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't care. They're in it for a good time, not necessarily a long time. So I don't know. Who knows, man? But I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I mean, you have Well, we have plenty of time to talk about it tomorrow. But any thoughts on tomorrow's game? Like before we, call it a night. Just looking at the time. Oh my God! I can't believe we've been on.
We'll
for
probably
this
do
long.
a mock draft or two before we get out of here.
All right, well, let's get into it.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Let's
So
get
I
into
was
it.
going to let you know, though, when I'm looking at that matchup, I think Seattle overall has the better matchup. I think it's going to rely on if Sam Donald throws the game away or and how he plays. If he can stay consistently and allow that defense to kind of do its thing as well too. I see it being a really good back and forth game. I really like both matchups, but I think Seattle just overall has the better team. I think they have the overall better defense. I thought in the beginning of the season, I told you I really liked what the Patriots were building. We talked about Drake May. I told you I really liked him. He's a really good quarterback. Just give him some time. You're going to see it developing and stuff like that. And then bam, there it is. It kind of blew up towards the end of the season there. I didn't expect it to be that quick of a transition for him, especially how his first year kind of went. But when you look at that, I think when you look at the two quarterbacks, obviously Drake May is the better quarterback in this matchup. So if it's gunslinging type of back and forth, you got to give that lenience towards Drake May. But when you're looking at the playmakers that he's throwing to, other than Diggs, who is the the right amount of people that are on the offensive side for May compared to Seattle. So I think just Darnold has a little bit more weapons. What do you think about going into this matchup?
I think this is what I think. I think this game is a field goal game. I think Seattle probably wins it, but I think we're all praying that. I think most of America is praying that Seattle wins this. I think that Seattle away from the 12th man will make it harder on them, and I think that Sam Darnold will see ghosts a bit against that great defense and great coaching by Mike Vrabel. So yeah, I'll give my final score tomorrow, but look for a 3-4 point a game. I like Seattle to win as well. I just think they're more ready all around.
Yeah,
I think, but shit, Milton Williams and company, Nick Gonzalez on the outside, corner, and Drake May has been proving me wrong all year. Anything can happen, man.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. I'm going to bring
35-17,
this up. Let's go ahead and minimize the chat here. Let's go ahead and bring this up here. We got a little draft simulator here in there. They found they found that they can do emojis on the screen. Yeah, I used to have it a lot larger. So so they just figured out that they could do that. Okay. So anyways, let's go ahead and get in here. We're gonna pick for the Cowboys here. How many rounds are we gonna go? We're gonna go first round. We're gonna do one round. We're gonna do the second round. You're gonna trade back. Or are you just gonna pick?
Do whatever
I think
you
we
want,
just do
man.
picks, right? We just do pick here, and that way.
Let's just do it where we picked Dallas.
We'll do one, okay? We'll do one round, and then maybe I control one, and you control one. How about that?
Okay, so
what
want
we're gonna do? What we're gonna do is we're gonna allow you to control this one here, okay? So we're gonna do here. We're gonna go. Oh, you want teams to draft a little bit more for needs, or you want it to be a little bit more random? We're good with what PFF kind of put there.
I don't know. You pick. You're the controller. Man.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and just allow. We're gonna tell it to go. Hey, just to go a little bit more with what they need, and I want you to value that position a little bit more.
Who's doing that? How do you do that?
The emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the chat. The chat's controlling that. All they have to do is drop a whole bunch of emojis into it, and it automatically drops it into the thing.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I've had that for a bit. They used to be larger, but with the new program, it won't do that as well too. So. So anyways, here we go. First round, we're gonna go here. We're gonna slow this down a little bit. Let's see where what they pick. Who do you think they're gonna go with in the first pick? Look, Mendoza. Even a simulation, they picked Mendoza. Alvell Reese went to the Jets. Bay went to the Cardinals. Interesting. Bailey, man, they are wiping out this defense.
Well, that's how I told you.
Tate. Oh, that's where they go. Wide receiver. Tyson. Oh, they put Tyson there. Caleb Downs, defense, even though they needed all these other positions. Lemon there goes to the Saints. And then Kansas City plays tackle. Okay. Jeremiah Love goes to the Bengals. That could
Hold
be
on.
something. Uh-oh. He is gone. He's like he's already out the door. He's like, I need to walk after this. All his defensive things have already started to jump out the board. And GM Bryan has now left to go walk the hallways and really think about this. Maybe make a phone call or two. I think I saw this on draft day. So Bryan, when we're looking at this, obviously you saw a lot of defensive guys coming out. You got your corner. McCoy that went out. I don't know your corner, but there's a lot of guys that are talking about, Dallas picking a corner there. Jeremiah Live, I like this pick here by the Bengals when it comes to this, because I think this gives somebody a complimentary piece for Burrow that can kind of take some load off of Burrow a little bit. You're obviously not giving him a weapon or a blocker, but at least you're giving him something that is going to help him in the long run, hopefully.
Yeah. So who's on the clock?
So we are on the clock now at the 12th pick. And can you see the picks here?
Yeah.
Right.
Styles,
Delane, Woods, Cassius Howell, Falk. You got a good, you got Fano down there.
Yeah, I'm going Mansour Delane. That's the number one, a corner in the draft. 6'1", like 290, 190. That would be a wonderful result.
So when you look at this, and I'm gonna kind of break this down. I think with PFF and how they kind of grade it. When you look at here, 2024, 2023, not the greatest of stats when it came to some of this, receptions against him, 34, 24. The targets, how much it was targeted towards him. He wasn't targeted as much. But the percentage I think is still there. So I think that's something to worry about to me when you look at this kind of thing. When you look at the matchups, how he was against some of these teams, he shined against Clemson, Florida, the Razorbacks. I think he goes. But when you look at teams like Alabama, Ole Miss, teams that could attack him, Oklahoma, I mean, it looks like he kind of was average. So it looks like he may have struggled sometimes in that as well. So I think that's what you're talking about when you're talking about the corners.
Well, I would say this: LSU defense as a whole struggled.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's true. But I don't dislike this pick. I think if you're going to go any corner in this one, this would be the most comfortable. I would
that's
feel.
The only one I'm comfortable with, to be honest with you. I know everybody likes other guys. I'm not saying you won't take guys. This is the guy who I really like him. So I just think he goes in the top 10. But this will be a good scenario. A position of high cost that you're getting under the rookie contract, right?
Yes.
So that's a good deal.
So
I think that's what they would do. I think Christian Parker would be doing the cartwheels.
The Ravens were right behind us, but it looks like they traded off to. Man, would you go? And he goes. It looks like the Rams getting up there and got Sonny over there. They really like one of their linebacker in there. Even getting in competition toward the Super Bowl, they're still making some moves there. But they have a pick, right? They have one of those higher picks because of the trade.
They have 2 picks. Yeah.
Man, so
Rich get richer.
Detroit goes with a corner to match with maybe a good corner.
Who's that? Terrell.
Terrell as well. Looks like the Vikings go offensive line with Fano. It's interesting. That'd be an interesting. I don't see them going in that direction, but it's kind of hard to be arguing against that. Cassius Howell goes to the Panthers. Okay.
I like Howell. That would have been a good pick for 20.
So at the 20th pick, now you got Woods that you were talking about. McDonald's. You got T.J. Parker. I think that's another guy that people get.
Let's talk about Parker.
Okay.
Let's talk about him. What's your thoughts on the man?
When I watch his film, I can see
not thrilled with him.
Not thrilled with it, but I can see the potential that he could.
I need a pass
rusher.
Star.
I need a pass rusher now, and that's not possibly that. It's not now. He's probably probably a little less than what Easy is at. Where he started at in his rookie year. So I think
I need an instant guy that can give me pass rush on 3rd down. I need to be able to get to the quarterback. Not a try hard guy who can get 3 sacks, 4 sacks. So I'm sorry, I don't like Parker in that spot.
When you look at you got C.J. Allen sitting there.
Sadiq,
and obviously
C.J. Allen.
Obviously, in your scenario, you probably would trade back to get the C.J. Allen type of thing, but that doesn't mean anything here. You could take the pick and and talk your way through that scenario.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you what are the safeties there?
even
Is
say
Tiedemann
he
there?
sends it. Yeah, he's in
Messidor.
there.
Ooh, see, I like Messidor.
Yes, I think that wouldn't be. I would be okay with that as well too. I think again when
I mean, I'm not
mentioning-
saying take him, but I'm saying I like him better than Parker.
when
and
you're
Parker
trading
make
back, when you're
tests
trading back,
better,
I would take
but-
that. Yeah.
So you wouldn't take Messidor at 20.
No, I wouldn't take him at 20, but like again, if you're trading back, because I think by this point
He's
you've
going
got
to go
some
in the
guys-
first round.
Oh,
so
he
what do
will,
we-
but I'm not trying to trade out of the first round either. You know, like if you're at 20, again, I want to pick
Okay,
up
but if
value.
you want him, take him.
Yeah, but when you're sitting there at that thing, I think there's going to be some people that are going to be valuing TJ Parker at that position. You know,
Or Messidor.
and again,
You got to find out who they want.
Yeah, yeah.
May-
I do
maybe
like Messidor.
Sadiq might be a guy. So all right. So here's the deal here. Give me, how far are you trading down?
Okay, well, let's do this in a scenario, okay? So your value, somebody's going to try to offer you the 25th pick. Chicago's trying to come in here and trying to offer you the 25th pick. You know, and so with
Okay,
that
who-
25th
Who do they
pick,
want?
you know, obviously you're not going to know their stuff. So like, you know,
Well,
you got a 20% chance of getting the end of their second round draft pick if you just trade that with the 20th.
Knowing what we're doing in free agency, I'd go Peter Woods. That's probably what I would do, but I know you don't like that. So I don't know, man. Go ahead, make a trade.
Well, no, we weren't
I
going to trade.
think-
Remember, we're going to trade. You can talk your thing, say, hey, I would trade and pick this person. I mean,
Oh,
you can pick
okay.
CJ Allen and say, hey, I picked him at the 27th because I went back.
Yeah.
Because obviously, let's be real, man. We're, is that value there to be picking CJ Allen at 20? I wouldn't feel extremely comfortable. But again, if you go down and you like your
do you
guy and you're
want
going to pick
then?
him, you know.
Who do you want at 20? That's the question. I would go Messidor, Woods.
Yeah, I think I would be okay with picking Messidor. I know he's showing here ranked down 32 stuff. I would be okay with that. I think he is if you didn't get your Styles, this is your backup plan here. And I know he's coming off the edge and everything like that as well.
And he's 25 years old. How about Kenyon and Sadiq? Would you go Sadiq here?
Yes, I'd be okay with Sadiq as well.
That's where I'm talking about.
I don't really want to pick a tight end, especially with all defensive guys like that. But again, if you're going to use him, I think he
I don't know that
definitely
they will,
benefit.
but-
I think he benefited from all the other weapons that they had in that offense. But again,
I don't know
you're
that
putting
he's
him
that type
in
of guy.
now, and if you're putting him into a position where he's going to be another weapon for it, but that means that you're overvaluing him over maybe Jake Ferguson there. So
How about
but I wouldn't be good with him at 20 there. No.
how about one of the offensive tackle, like offensive linemen?
Yeah, I would pick Penn State's guard. I could be
Lone.
comfortable with that. Yeah, I'd be okay with that as well.
Oh,
there at
man.
that position, But
I just got to be a little bit more warm and fuzzy. I hear what you're
No,
saying.
I understand.
Now,
I totally
if we
understand.
if we get Lone, then Steele's gone, right? See, this is where I need my team, right? Hear me out, everybody. We're on the clock, right? I'm trying to trade at some point. Like if Ultra is right, even if we do it, I could go and get a guard, right? Because you know what you're getting. So this is where I need them to be, but yeah, like all in all facets of the draft,
Yeah.
like old school. They need to be ready to move on, like a lot of players on a board
That's what I'm
and put
saying.
them on the board. These are guys that we might be willing to move off from at this point in the draft. So
Yeah, and the
Very
chat
interesting.
definitely agrees in that sense. When you look at that guard and you just look, oh my bad, man. Yeah, it could be my internet. It's
yeah, all right. I think we should wrap her then.
Blake telling us some stuff there. But anyway, so you go ahead. Who would you pick
I'm
here?
losing you.
Who would you pick here?
You're like, boop, 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 boop. I know you're not gonna. Yeah, we lost you. So like we're gonna just we're losing people. I would probably go with the best. I would probably go Peter Woods here.
What is going
But
on?
that's just me. Yeah, that's why I
YouTube
said
has an error.
we're
it
losing
says.
everyone. Yeah, that means it's bad internet. Just refresh the page at the top there. It might. But let's finish her up.
Yeah. There it goes. I don't know what's going on there. I probably have to they were just
Yeah,
sending
that's what I
something out
said.
about the internet. But anyway, so yeah, go ahead and pick your guy. Pick your guy, even if it's an unpopular position.
All right, I'm gonna go Peter Woods.
Okay.
Oh, I know you hated it.
No. Of course I do. Here you go. So here's your first. All right, there you go. Your Peter Woods is definitely a good one in their sense as well. You got some value there at the 20th pick. So I think again, you're getting good defensive
player,
guys.
man.
Yeah, you're getting good defensive guy. Clark, you're going at Osa. It's like, oh yeah, Osa can't play an edge rush position. Yeah, he can play an edge rush position. So I mean, I would be, I'd be okay as long as you're going defensive and everything. I'm definitely okay with that. Let's see if it's gonna mess with my stuff. I'm gonna go through.
You're offline, brother.
Yeah, it's when I refresh this draft page. It's like loading up. It's taking all this stuff to load it.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
All right, hold on. Let's see if I can. All right, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and get rid of it.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, that for some reason the engine there is kind of messing with it and stuff like that. So we're just gonna go ahead and just back it out of there. But no, I mean, again, when you're looking at this draft and what's the possibilities of it, I think everybody obviously wants to get defensive thing, but I think Bryan kind of nails the head, the nail on the head. I mean, it's basically best player available because you're hopefully attacking in free agency.
I think if we ended up with that, man, dude, that's pretty good. I know we all went edge rusher. I understand. I don't have a problem with Messidor at 20, but if you're sticking to your board, I think Woods is a lot higher than Messidor. So that's my thing. What are we doing in free agency? And then we open up what you want to do is to possibly trade down, and get maybe a third. I would think, Phil, if you're going from the second round, you would have to trade out of the first into the 35 range to get a second round pick. So that's what we've got to start investigating. Drop from 20 to 35 and get 35 and another second round pick.
Yeah.
And then you might still be looking at some of those guys, So
Yeah,
that's what I would be looking to do in this particular draft. Not at 12.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, man.
Sorry.
When you look at the most value that you're going to get by moving back, even if it's by 2 spots, 3 spots, is going to be that 12th pick. But a lot of us, and I think you and I can be in agreement, is that I don't want to trade away from where the first round true value is going to be at that 12th pick. And yes, maybe you get wiped out or whatever, but you're going to get a value at that position. Now, is it a position you necessarily need? For example, when you're looking at what Bryan did there, yeah, maybe that 20th pick itself wasn't exactly who you wanted in that position, but the fact that the defensive tackle, I think, you can start to experiment with stuff. Oh man, I'm sorry, man. This internet stuff. I gotta get a Comcast person out here and try to figure this out. But anyways, let's go ahead and just cut it.
I might do a video with me putting the names in the hopper so you believe me, but I'd rather just put them in the hopper. I'll go through in the morning. I'll look and see all channel members, and I'll put all the names in there. And any super chats throughout the broadcast will also go in there. I'm going to get some. I have to run to the store. I got to get some Eagle stuff. And I have my own merch here that I can give away, mugs and tumblers, hoodies, T-shirts. So we'll see how much I do give away, but I am going to go buy half dozen items. So we should have fun tomorrow. If you want to be a channel member, we'll definitely tell you tomorrow how to do that. So looking forward to the fun. So that's about it, everybody.
Yeah, man, I thought that was a really good one. Go a little bit. I mean, I know it's early in draft. I haven't really been able to dive as well into a lot of these guys past the first round. So I think us sticking to the first round was definitely a good one. I know there's guys that get sprinkled in there as you're watching other people's film. The kind of guys that just jump out on the film for you. I know when I was watching some Texas Tech ball, that's exactly what was happening. You're talking about Rodriguez, but you can't help but look at some of those other guys on that defensive line because, I mean, that's, when you're looking at defensive interior that you were talking about, Hunter is another one that I think you can get some really good value there for as well, too. So it's kind of funny because you get excited about the possibilities of what you're going to add But then, like, you know, we've been hearing, I mean, not the greatest in depth of draft, but, you know, if you can pick somebody right, you know, there's always those diamonds in the rush. So, Bryan, I appreciate you coming through, talking NFL draft, even though it's early. You know, and again, these guys may not be in the position they are because of combine, free agency, people's needs, and all that kind of stuff. So, Bryan, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Nah, man, just I can't wait to you know, stream tomorrow night, and make sure everybody hit the like button, share this stream. We would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, I appreciate every single one of you. And again, I appreciate you sticking out there in the end. I got to figure that whole thing out. But again, one thing I do appreciate you not forgetting to do.
Ring that bell.
All right, you guys take care.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.
Talking prime rib in bed. I'm using a blanket as a napkin. That's fancy. That's fancy. Real fancy. What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think we handled that with dignity. Free candy! Johnny loves Chachi!